Hey, how's it going, everybody? Got another pickups video for you guys. Wasn't gonna do one until I got a bunch of stuff, but when I show you the vintage thing I got here for cheap, I think that makes it worth doing a short vid. This is, to me, a rare find, man. I just don't spot stuff like this around here because people trash stuff and it's in pretty damn good shape. Just don't know exactly how old it is, other than 80s. Anyways, it's big, it's friggin' heavy, as it's from probably the early 80s, so I'm going to show it last. So I'm going to try and hold it up as best as I can to show you the whole thing, and it has to do with music. And so far, everything's working. It just needs some good cleaning, which on that, I just kind of spot cleaned it so I could show it. So anyways, other than the big thing at Goodwill, finally picked up a couple of games that were in good shape. This one is like friggin' new. Figure if I don't like it, I'll give it to my nephew as he likes race car games. Anyways, this is Racing Italiano, PS2. It's like friggin' new, man. So anyways, got that for $1. This one, I'm hoping because it damn near looks new, that it's not because it sucks, because this is one of the early games where they had the blue disc. Anyways, this is Ultimate Board Game Collection, 20 classics from around the world. So, stuff like mahjong, Chinese checkers, chess, whatever. So there's got to be something on there I'd like. Otherwise, not in bad condition. There's just a few little light scratches on the disc. And usually when I find PS2 stuff or older, when it comes to disc games, man, I am really lucky if I find anything in good shape. When they get to my Goodwill store, they are beat to shit usually. Either that or they're just gone as soon as they set it out. There's always somebody there looking for games. This, let's see. Yeah, their DVDs are normally $1 a DVD. Because this is a box set, it's got 7 discs in it, so she just counted it as $7, but well worth it. As other than one having a slight crack to the center of the disc where the hole is, which nothing bad. They're like friggin' new. Well, it's got season 1 of Heroes on DVD. Right, now these I got at a different thrift store that I only stop at occasionally because they kind of suck, and every time I see something really cool there, they want too much money. Anyways, this I figured was worth picking up, even that I'm not much of a reader because of my dyslexia and photophobia. My eyes go nutso if I try to read any paperbacks or anything. But I grabbed these because you don't see too many hardcover books put out by Heavy Metal Magazine. So anyways, there's 3 of them here. This is by one of the artists that they had for heavy metal. It's Christopher Rowley. Let's see. Going backwards here. Okay. Here we go. Anyways, book 1. It's a pleasure model. Book 2 is The Bloodstained Man. Book 3, Money Shot. And I haven't even flipped through these yet. I just grabbed them because they looked like new. Okay, the way they did it is each page has a picture or two. It's not like Heavy Metal Magazine where it's all comics. So it's like a regular old book. They just got about 1 or 2 pictures per page. So, cool enough. Shows off some of his artwork. What, man? All 3 for $5. So that's got to be a good deal. And they're all like new. All right. This happens to be something that plays tape cassettes, and the only way I can prove that it works is have a tape in it, so hopefully YouTube won't make me kick off my video for playing a tape for just so many seconds, just long enough to show you that it works. I'm going to read off the name and model number to you guys first before I pick this thing up. It's going to be awkward in this computer chair. Anyways, what I found today is a Lloyd's model number V330 boombox from the early 80s. And it's big. On the length, it's about the same as that last one I got that's from the 90s, but this one's taller. And what makes this thing pretty unique and also heavy, the speakers are like what you would have had with just a home stereo back in the day. They're wood speakers with a plastic front, which found out something cool on this while I was messing with it, because one of the plugs, or jacks or whatever you want to call them, where it plugs into the back for your speakers, obviously had a problem where the owner had cut it off on one of the speakers and then wired both of them together. So only one channel was powering both speakers. Or at least that's what he thought. As it might have been somebody that wasn't the original purchaser of this and they just didn't know. But what's really cool about this, when you take off the speakers, there's two big metal hooks to the bottom and then this big metal knob that goes into the side of the stereo, and then that locks it all in place. Anyways, the two metal hooks on the bottom of each speaker are also contacts for the speaker, so you don't have to have the wires hooked up unless you're gonna have it as a shelf system. While it's all together, that's all you gotta do, man. And also, it's got the little things on the back of it, so if you're not getting a strong enough signal on the FM antenna, you can hook up an outside antenna. And then, let's see. Looks like it's got it to where you can, okay, it's got left and right speaker for hooking up an auxiliary, whatever. Another tape deck to do recording or whatever, and then it's got it on the bottom for hooking up a record player, which I haven't done any of that yet. I just got this thing today, so I don't know how that's gonna work. I'm figuring it just acts like an amplifier for the record player, because your record players back in the day, unless you had a cheap system to where it's all in one, did not have an amplifier with it. You had to buy all that separate. And on power, let's see, that's where they did this one weird. Okay, it's either plug it in, which it had the original AC cord for it. Otherwise, it does have a spot to plug in another type of power supply, which is DC, 12 volt. And then your two jacks for speaker left and right below all that. It's got a beat cut switch. Anyways, on the batteries, it's got a separate little spot for a AA battery, as this has an LED clock on it, which is unusual for a boombox. And it works. Popped in the battery and works beautifully. One thing I noticed, and I'm thinking it's because it's dirty, I may have to take some of this apart if possible. Which I don't know if I'll go that far or not, because it does work. It's just touchy on the volume where it gets a little crackly as I'm turning it up, but once it's turned up, it seems to hold pretty good. Which, that's just thinking this was in somebody's garage to where it just kept getting dirtier and dirtier. So, I did pick up a couple cassettes. There's the salt and pepper one. I don't know what the hell I did with it. I put away those Walkmans, so I might have left it in one of them. So anyways, one of the cassettes, it plays. That's what's in here. Some old Run DMC. And I'm lucky that it plays because the cassette has a very slight warp in it. Like it just started to get hot in somebody's car, so I can play it, but I can't fast forward or rewind. The other one I got was some Pantera. It's disco. It sounded like shit, so it probably got overheated enough or just played enough to where it's getting demagnetized. It just sounded bad. So, another thing on this that's not totally broken, it's just missing the button cover. It does have a button for power just below the clock, but it was one that goes over the post, so I can stick my finger in there and push on the post to turn it on. Which, oh, it was already on, okay. Then on knobs, got one for selecting AM, FM, and now that I got this under our brighter light, I got to go over these again and clean them, as they are all aluminum knobs. And one of them, actually the tuning knob, was pretty freaking nasty, and I got that all cleaned up with a magic eraser. So I say one for AM, FM on your selection, got one for bass, one for treble, one for balance. Then next you got your switches. Your first switch is sleep, tape, radio. And then INT, I guess, means tape or radio. Otherwise, this next switch also is for your auxiliary and then phono if you have a record player hooked up. Got a switch for stereo or mono sound. Then you got a switch for chromo 2, metal, or normal. Which, being that this is a rap tape that's in here, I don't remember having any of them back in the day that were chromo 2 or metal. So if I keep it on normal, it sounds better. And then you got your volume dial, which is the clicky type, so it stays exactly where you put it. And then above that, your tuning dial and your tuner. And it's got your power level meters, which work beautifully. And then below that's the LCD clock, which is real basic. It just shows the time and has 3 buttons, and that's just to set it. And then tape, the usual. Play, record, fast forward, rewind, eject. And let's see here. Can't remember. Okay, it does have it to where you can take, looks like the face off of it. So it's got a couple of knobs screwed in. And once again, now that I'm in the light, looking inside the tape player part, I can see why it worked right away. It is nice and clean. Fortunately, no dust got in there. So, let's hope for the best and see if it'll play. You know how it is, as soon as he shows something off, that's when it decides to break, but I've been playing with it since I got home. Oh man, the tape counter works. Oh, and it's got dual microphone, so mic for each speaker. And yeah, on the headphones, it's the old school large jack. So you'd either have to have an adapter or find some old school headphones. People talking try to make us rhyme. They really want, but we just walk because we have no time. I didn't say it was fucking big. This thing's got to at least weigh 50 pounds, man. And I am gonna weigh it. I lied, it was more than a few seconds. But Still, please don't take off my video, YouTube, man. It was just to test it. In fact, when did that tape come out? Tried to find something to go with it, man. I wanted to find some kind of rap, and I'm not really into rap, but I did like Run DMC back in the day. Let's see. Huh. Okay, this is Raising Hell. This came out in 88. Oh, maybe not 88. God, I can barely read it. Oh, my bad. That looks more like a 6. Yeah, I thought it was older than 88, because I used to have this. Yeah, this is one that has Walk This Way, the rap version of the Aerosmith song, which, gotta say, they kicked ass at it. Other than that, man, you say, I don't know if it's going to show there. Yeah, it barely shows, but there's just a slight bend in the bottom of it, and that's probably what's keeping it from wanting to fast forward or rewind. So, lucky that it plays at all. That's what's weird, that's the only part that's warped, because the top of it's okay. Being that I'm in Arizona, man, when I first moved out here, made the mistake that a lot of people do. I left all my cassettes in a holder on the dash of the car, and it was hot as all fuck out, at least 100. Left them there overnight and didn't get at them until about the middle of the next day. They were literally melted into a cube inside the box, man. It was one of those wooden cassette tape boxes, and I had to pry it all out with a knife. They had fused together. It was so friggin' hot. So, live and let learn. Which fortunately wasn't any of my really good music, or I would have been pissed. So, let's see. I'll show you guys that the radio works here.
And internationally, keeping you updated and informed globally. For more on these, thrift.com.
House Speaker Paul Ryan says Congress will front the money for President Trump's newly announced wall on the U.S.-Mexico border. Ryan suggested during an interview on MSNBC that a suggested price tag between $8 billion and $14 billion is about right, and there are different ways to get Mexico to pay. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio offered his response after reviewing an executive order by the president, threatening to cut federal funds from...
It's cool. Anyways, I looked this up, and on value, all I could find was one person that supposedly sold one, maybe for about $150 at most on eBay. But it was in really good shape. Nothing wrong with it. Other than that, all I can find is pictures, and everybody just says early 80s. There is no friggin' date on this anywhere. Nothing on this. It's got stickers on the back of each speaker that give the same model number and stuff, and the speakers are only 5 watts, but this thing surprisingly cranks pretty freaking good for stereo or just boombox its age. I had so many of them back in the day. You turn it up full blast, especially with full bass or anything, and it sounded god awful. This, yeah, I got to turn down the bass a little bit, but it will let you turn it up full blast and not sound too bad. Yeah. All I'm finding is early 80s, and the one person that I knew he would have one. This is the one place that I'd want to visit, maybe stay the night at, hide somewhere, so he can never find me again, is Toy Rat in Ontario, Canada, man. He collects boom boxes, and I just watched one of his vids. And he's got the same one, but I guess they did 2 variations of it. I'm thinking just 2. So I'll show you again. And it's up where the tuner is. You can see that it's all a black background. The one he has is blue on where the cover is for the tuner, and then the one for the levels. So that's the only thing different. Otherwise, same thing. So I knew he'd have one. I did send a message to him on the video, so hopefully he will get back to me and maybe he's gotten more information on it, because it was a pretty old video where he was showing off some of his collection. The same amount of value. That's all I can say is I found one. Sold for about 150, but it was practically like new. This, being that it works, shit, maybe 100. Maybe I don't care because I only paid $4 for it. They had it as broken, and once they put something as broken at my Goodwill, they got to sell it as a broken item. But the dude said somebody else had tried to test it, and they obviously didn't find the power button, so they thought it was dead and put it up on the shelf. So they didn't even have a price tag on it. So he had to come out and just say, yeah, $4. So I got lucky. Very, very lucky. So, don't want to make this vid insane long here, but I wanted to show it off to you guys good. I'll show you just a glance at the back of it here before I quit. Just to show you that, yes, these speakers are made out of wood. In fact, shit, that's what I didn't show you. Damn it. Okay, this is going to be kind of a long vid. Just want to show it off good. Anyways, on the handle on top, there is a button on each side of it that you hold down. And then that releases the speakers. And being that these are wood, here's a lot of the weight. So what I'm talking about on how they go on. Those two clamps on the bottom are positive and negative for the speaker. As what I'm going to have to do, and I'm glad the person that owned them before me didn't do, is add a plug to one of them and redo this one. But as you can see, there is no way to open these up because they are wood. So if he would have cut the wire completely off, they'd be screwed if you wanted to take them off and have it as a regular old stereo type system. And then that knob on top is really friggin' thick. It's damn near as big around as my pinky finger, and all metal. So the clamp system on this is definitely heavy duty. They stay on really well. So, catch y'all later.